Brennan Doherty here for SunsetSpeedway.ca with the one, the only, the voice of Sunset Speedway, your NASCAR Canadian Tire Series pit road reporter, the jack of all trades, Mr. Spencer Lewis. And we're here to hype and talk about the upcoming weekend of Sunset Speedway.
The hype is real.
The Leland 300 brought to you by Johnsonville. You just came back from Chaudière. You were out there with the TSN crew.
Yep.
You got first-hand view of a lot of the teams we're going to see this weekend.
Yep.
You know, what happened in Chaudière and what do we look forward to this weekend?
It reminded me how good the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series is on a short track. I mean, admittedly I don't get to see them as much as I would like to. I work a few shows for them each year, but some of my stuff is on road courses or I've done Kawartha, which isn't really a short track. To see them at Chaudière, which it's almost like a cross between Barrie and Varney for our Ontario fans. It was fantastic. I mean, it's a racy track where you can really run the top or the bottom. It was great, and you had some teams getting into one another. There were some tempers flaring by the end. I mean, you never like to see tore up equipment, but you do like to see that raw emotion. And we did have some teams that were a little hot at each other at the end, and I just think that's a byproduct of that environment. It just goes along with the excitement. So we saw a lot of teams sort of assert themselves and maybe surprise some people. Guys like Alex Labbe, who came out, sets fast time, leads a ton of laps, and finishes second. He's not a full-timer on the tour. He might end up becoming a full-timer, but right now, in the last couple of seasons, he hasn't been a full-timer. He's been great, really, from the moment he touched down in NCATS. I mean, he came out at ICAR one year. His first series start, it was his first start on a road course, finished in the top 5. He's really been good everywhere he's gone. He's won in ACT cars. He's won on the Past North Tour. He had a Past National Tour win at Chaudière last year and finished second to Kyle Busch when Kyle Busch came up to Chaudière. So the kid's incredibly accomplished, and I truly believe he's one of the rising stars in Canada right now. So if you're looking for drivers to come out that you want to watch, that you want to see in person, Alex Labbe should be at the top of your list. If you haven't seen this young man in person yet, you got to come and see him at Sunset on Saturday because he doesn't know how to have a boring race.
No, I mean, you're talking about all this excitement, tempers flaring. What's the atmosphere going to be like this Saturday at Sunset for the Leland 300? I mean, it's been something we've all been waiting for, and it's finally on our doorstep.
I just think it's going to be incredible. It's going to be crazy. Sunset fans are, in my opinion, the best fans anywhere in the country. I mean, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of racetracks and experience a lot of big events, but the Sunset fan base, there's something about them. They just bring that energy, and when you're walking in front of the grandstands in a big event, like the Velocity, or like when we've hosted the Biederman Memorial in the past, or the APC Tour event a month ago, you can just sort of feel it. It's remarkable, and I think that this NASCAR Canadian Tire Series event, this Leland 300 presented by Johnsonville, is just going to take everything to another level. It's going to be unreal. The fans have been asking for this for so long. Every year, Mark Dilley and myself and Steve Slaughter Sr., we like to ask our fans, we like to put it out on social media, you know, what do the fans want? What do you guys want to see us do? And every year, the resounding answer is bring in NCATS. And I swear to God, it has not been for a lack of trying. We've been working to make it happen, and scheduling conflicts and all the other, bureaucratic stuff sort of kept it from happening. It's finally here. It's finally going to happen. The forecast looks amazing. The atmosphere is going to be crazy. I mean, we are just going to blow the roof off of anything that has a roof at Sunset. There's not a lot of structures with roofs. We're going to blow them off on Saturday when we get there. I mean, it's just going to be incredible.
No, I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I looked at the entry list, 20 cars already on the entry list for Saturday. Who are you going to keep an eye on? We already talked about Alex Labbe, but I mean, Hathaway went to victory lane.
Yeah.
It's a deeply talented field, and a lot of guys with a home track advantage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if home track advantage is going to play a part or not. I mean, Hathaway's got a ton of laps around there. He's got top 5 finishes in late models. Larry Jackson put on an amazing show when he was here in a late model earlier on in the spring. He's got a ton of laps around Sunset as well. Mark Dilley, of course, designed the place on a napkin, literally. I mean, this is his creation. He could wheel that thing around there blindfolded. Caden Lapswich and Dwayne Baker both have won championships at Sunset. So they understand the track, but I don't think anyone really knows how the track's going to change throughout the night. No one knows how this track's going to rubber up. You know, I mean, we don't know what's going to be the preferred line. I'm assuming it's going to be the top, but the bottom might come in. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. So There might be a bit of a home track advantage, but I think by the time we get to lap 100 and everyone's got 100 laps on these cars and everyone has sort of figured out what works and what doesn't, I think that home track advantage is going to get a race in an awful hurry. And you can see someone that doesn't have a lot of laps, like a Scott Steckley or even an Andrew Ranger, sort of come through and make something happen. I mean, these Quebec guys, the road course standouts, LP Dumoulin had a really good run at Chaudière. I mean, these guys are known as road course stalwarts, but they can still get the job done on a short track. And I would not put it past Ranger or Dumoulin to maybe surprise a couple of people. I mean, LP qualified second at Chaudière, got into some craziness late in the race and didn't have the finish that he deserved, but that 47 car could be one to keep an eye on.
And I mean, talking about, how the track's going to change, I mean, keeping up with that's going to be big. I mean, look at Hathaway. Was he qualified 13th?
13th on the grid. You believe that?
You're not even talking about him until over halfway through the race.
Yeah.
I mean, one round of pit stops, and I mean, it's not like it's not like Chaudière. There's no halfway break.
No, there's not a break.
Pit road is live. The crews are coming over the wall for the first time at sunset. And I mean, how big is making sure you got the right adjustments? I mean, you're going to be practicing during the day, racing during the evening. The teams are really going to have to keep up with that.
You got to be trusting in your equipment, and more importantly, you got to be trusting in the people you've surrounded yourself with if you're a driver. Because, I mean, once you get out there, if your car's not responding the way you need it to, you need to make a change as soon as possible. Because you can get lost in the shuffle in an awful hurry. You can find yourself moving backwards. And with the field as deeply stacked as it is, you start moving in the wrong direction. I mean, your night could be over. That could be it for you. You're just riding around at that point. So to have a guy like Graham Annis making calls and making adjustments and constantly changing and thinking and strategizing throughout the race, that's what you need. So Hathaway had that at Chaudière. You can bet your bottom dollar he's going to have that at Sunset, because Graham Annis, this is a home track event for him. He's one of the smartest young minds in racing right now. He's going to be strategizing, but I mean, that everybody, Greg Gibson and Randy Steckley are going to be doing that for Scott Steckley. Don't think that they're not going to be, sort of having their notepad out and jotting down notes and thinking about what they need to do and what they need to change as the race goes on. There's a ton of really smart guys. Kyle Baker's going to be doing it for his dad, Dwayne. I mean, Kyle doesn't have a lot of races as a crew chief on an NCATS team, but he's got a lot of races as a crew chief in a late model. He's got a lot of time spent on the top of the box in the infield at Sunset. He knows that track as well as anybody does. Having an ace in the hole like that could make all the difference when that track starts to rubber up and the temperature comes down and things start to change a little bit.
And from there, we talk about these guys, the home track advantage. Friday night, the first time at Sunset Speedway, the Gary Reynolds Memorial.
The NCAT show was not even the only race on the card this weekend. If you're coming out to Sunset and you're bringing your camper or your trailer or your pup tent, you're doing what, sleeping in your van, I don't care what you're doing. If you're coming out, make sure you're there on Friday for the Gary Reynolds Memorial. I have my man Jason White call me from British Columbia this afternoon, there's no word of a lie, and said, Spencer, we're going to make sure that we're there on Friday. Because I've been seeing all the hype online, I've been reading Facebook and Twitter, I'm seeing everybody talk about it. I'm coming in a day early, I'm going to make sure that I'm there for the Gary Reynolds Memorial. So the hype about this is far-reaching. I mean, people all across the country right now are seeing the Facebook and Twitter posts, they know that it's real. 75 laps for late models at Sunset. It doesn't matter if you call it the Spring Velocity or what did we call it? What did we call the spring event last year? It wasn't the Spring Velocity, it was something else. It doesn't matter. Or the Velocity or the Gary Reynolds Memorial. The fact of the matter is 75 laps for the late models at Sunset is always a good show. I mean, these guys always come, guns loaded, ready to go to war. It's going to be a fantastic show. We got Baker, Morrow, Zardo, Holdaway, Kerry goddamn Mix is going to be in the field. There's your surprise. I haven't even announced that on Facebook yet. Kerry Mix is going to be in the field, so there's your video blog exclusive. Now you know that. Flying Ryan Kimball just texted me before we went on the air with this. He's going to be at Sunset on Friday. The former Autumn Colors Classic champion Flying Ryan Kimball with his SMG Motorsports number 73. So there's going to be a ton of talent there, and the fact that we get to honor a guy like Gary is really, really cool. I mean, Gary Reynolds was sort of one of those foremost fixtures out late model division. He was around a long time. He did a lot of great things in the short track community. I know that he was primarily a Barrie racer, but he had some really good years at Sunset too. He had some really good runs at Sunset, and his grandson Jordan is currently racing at Sunset. He'll be in that event as well. To pay tribute to a guy that gave so much of his life to racing and do it in a party atmosphere like we're going to have on Friday night, it's just going to make this a really special event. 75 laps for late models, 50 laps for super stocks, 35 laps for mini stocks. It's the perfect card. It's a Friday night. You got nothing better to do. I mean, I know you wanted to go see Jurassic World, but this is going to be better. Come to the Speedway instead. Don't go to the movie theater. Don't go to the drive-in. Come to Sunset. I mean, the pits are going to be packed. The grandstands are going to be packed. The place is going to be alive on Friday night. So if you're coming for the NCAT show, come a day early and make sure you're there on Friday night.
And we've seen the extra grandstands already. The pictures are posted on Facebook.
Yep.
The orders for the dilly dogs, we're making sure we're stocking up on them for the weekend. So.
We have an extra pallet of hot dogs. I don't even know how many hot dogs are on a pallet, but we got it stacked up like that for dilly dog orders. So we're ready. You come to Sunset, order the dilly dog. It's hot dog with cheese. It's like it'll blow your mind. It's the best hot dog. The Martinsville hot dog has got nothing on the dilly dog. You come to Sunset, if you're coming for your first time, make sure you get a dilly dog.
A secret menu item.
Secret menu.
So there we go. We've previewed the entire weekend.
Yes.
And I mean, it sounds absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
And it's just going to be jam packed.
This is one of those events that if you don't come, you're going to be checking your phone all night. You're going to look at social media on Sunday, and you're going to say, man, I should have gone. So skip that. Why torment yourself? Come out and be here Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a huge show, and you don't even need to stand in line on race day. Take your phone, sunsetspeedway.ca. I got all the links for you right there on the home page. Buy your ticket ahead of time. It goes right to your email. We can scan it right off your phone. You walk straight in the gate. No lineups on race day. Get it done right now. Finish this video blog or pause it right now and I'll wait. And go on sunsetspeedway.ca and order your ticket right now. Don't wait in line.
So there we go.
There we go.
That's all it needs to be said.
That's all it needs to be said.
Till Friday night.
Make sure you're there. You'll hate life if you don't come. So, and come pay tribute to Gary Reynolds because really it was an honor for us when Mark Dilley called the Reynolds family over the offseason when Barrie Speedway had announced that they wouldn't be in operation anymore. Mark Dilley called the Reynolds family and said, it would be an honor for us to host this event if you're all right with it. And Kevin Reynolds and the rest of the family said, we would love that. And this has really been, one of those events that we've been counting down the hours to, counting down the days. I have, at least. I know that everyone else at Sunset has. This is not just a precursor to the NCATS event. I don't want people to think that this show is going to be like the little brother to the NCATS event. This is a huge show all on its own. And this would be a show worthy of video blogs and hype and social media posts all on its own. Like I said, Gary gave a huge portion of his life to racing. Come out and honor him. You'll feel good about yourself. The family would love to see you. And it's going to be a huge show. I mean, we're going to pack the pits and we get to see if Dwayne Baker can get that 48 car back to the front because I heard that Brandon Watson looked pretty sporty in it last Saturday. Got it all tuned up for Dwayne. So Dwayne's coming to the Reynolds and he told me how excited he is for this event. So he's coming ready to go to war.
And on that note, Baker will be the only defending champion of the Gary Reynolds Memorial in the field.
That's correct. Mike Lightsell Bentley is currently tuning on his Pro Late model, getting ready for Delaware next Friday, so he won't be in the field.
So I mean, Baker's the last champion.
Yep.
Of when he was at Barrie.
Yep.
He's gonna look to get that first crown, and Watson's got that car tuned up. He parked it in victory lane last Saturday.
It was looking sporty, so we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be a huge show. There's no other way that I can put it. It's going to be a massive show. Don't make the mistake of not coming. That's all I can tell you right now.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, from Brennan Doherty and the voice of Sunset Speedway, Spencer Lewis, we'll see you at the track Friday night.
I'll see you on Friday.